Great things in our order happen by change, not by chance. Your lodge won't be successful without members stepping up to fill leadership roles. Did you know that the number one reason a lodge closes is there is no members to fill the needed roles? We look forward to the journey that lies ahead. How have you found to motivate or encourage people to maybe step in a chair? Have you ever asked anybody yourself personally?
Asking somebody to be an officer is it's difficult. You're right. Not people don't want to do that. It's a time commitment. It's an unknown as far as what they're getting into.
And do you find that long-term members who've never been in the chairs but have come to meetings or whatever are completely against it?
Yes, I think some of your newer members you can get because they're unknowing, I guess. But I think some of your longer term members, they just need to be asked. Really, they just need to be told, like, we need your help. We need you to step up and we need you to fill a spot. And they were happy to do it. They just didn't know it was needed. They don't necessarily know, that the opportunity's there or that your lodge needs it.
Why should somebody become an officer or a committee chair?
Part of it's just flat giving back. Giving back to a community, giving back to your lodge, trying to make a mark or make things a little bit better. I think that what's really important is that somebody follows their passion. I guess it's like me. They identified me as a hoop shoot. I was a sports guy, but didn't know anything about it. That was kind of led me into the next thing. So I think it just, have a conversation with them, find out is that what they're passionate about, explain the process. I think knowledge is very important. I don't like just throwing something at somebody and saying, here you go, here's how you do it. Empower them, give them the information. Again, I go back to how cool it is now that everything's at our fingertips through the internet. Heck, if Elks don't do anything, they know how to write a manual. We got a manual on absolutely everything that you can do. Now, I wouldn't say always that that's the gospel, but it's a very good starting point. And then run, man. I mean, like they said, run, Forrest, run.
Or what would you say to somebody who's kind of on the fence? Maybe they're not sure whether they want to do it or not, whatever. How would you tell them, hey, this is a great thing to do? What would be your pitch?
I'd say all the cool kids are doing it.
Right? I absolutely 100% agree with you.
But I've got so many people, 2 past state presidents in our state that have told me a couple times that if it wasn't for being an officer, they wouldn't be good public speakers, that they hated to talk. They didn't know they had a voice. And by going through the chairs, and whether they read or not, I didn't ask, but they're now, I can't shut them up. I mean, one of them, I know. Yeah, I mean, now you can be that person at the wedding who gets to stand up and give a toast that you always wanted to give because, you were forced to do that as an officer. I would tell them you're going to get more out of your membership by doing it, but really why you should become an officer. When I became an elk, I met more people on the block I lived on in 6 months of being a member and getting involved than I had met in the 6 years prior, living on that block. And then once I became an officer, I'm out there mowing my lawn, right? I'm mowing the lawn out there by the sidewalk. This pickup truck stops, comes in and rolls his passenger window down. He's yelling across at me and I'm turning my mower off. He says, hey, aren't you Ben Braden? I'm like, why? What am I in trouble for? Like, oh, I saw your picture in the newsletter. You're an officer at the lodge, aren't you? And I had that happen a couple times. That you just the connections, the connection to the community. That I felt more part of the community after being an officer. I really felt blessed to make these connections. And if I hadn't been an officer there, it never would have happened. And I'd never feel like I was part of something bigger than myself. I don't know. It was special.
If there was a younger person and they came to a lodge meeting and they were kind of sitting at the edge of the door, or maybe just standing around, just kind of looking at the chairs or whatever, and not asking, but inquisitive, What do you, when you walk up and say hello and I've never seen you here before and, whatever, how do you engage them and say, you know what, maybe there's a spark in your eye. That chair may be for you. How do you address them?
What brought you here? What made you sit your butt in that seat? What kinds of questions can I answer for you? What brought you here? If we ask them those very truthful questions, you'd be amazed at what they're going to pop back. Even the young kids have got rhyme or reason, right? They're not that bad. They're not that bad. They're they really are. They're not that bad. Hey, my kids are 25 and 23, right? So when we said, Mom, you're going to, that's an old person's group. You're going to be in charge of an old person's club. I made them become members and sit at your tables and talk to my retired longshoremen and talk to my naval and talk to my port commissioners and talk to my, retired police officers and talk to my Vietnam vets and talk to my vets that were living on the street that now have a roof over their head because of the Elks. And I want them to hear about life, right?
Right.
And what the world was like. And so if those young people are putting their butts in the seats at my lodge room, it is my duty to walk over and ask them, what brought you in here? What can the Elks do for you? Or what do you want to do for the Elks? You'd be amazed. You'd be amazed at the answers that they'll give you.
Well, I think that's outstanding because, it's funny when you said that, you said they're not that bad. They're not that bad. But sometimes there is this generational gap where some of the older folks or the old guard or whatever you want to call them, they just look down upon the younger generation. And the idea is that, the younger generation gave us, well, at the time, iPhones and iPads and computers and stuff like this.
Yeah.
They're inventive. They're creative. They really do. I mean, look at the kid who made Facebook, right? So
right.
The idea is that they're not that bad. You're 100% correct. They're actually very inventive, very smart. And these are the people that we need to attract.
And they can multitask like you've never seen before.
Absolutely. And if you have this mindset of, well, they're all just bad people or whatever, you're just doing yourself and your lodge a disservice.